boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome into the Savannah Youth Mentoring Hub radio podcast show every Friday morning, 11 a.m. here on WRUU 107.5 FM. My name is Shaughnessy. I get to be the host. And not every week, although it used to be every week, but not every week we'll have a guest come on and we'll have a conversation about youth mentoring and what's happening in Savannah, in Chatham County, in youth mentoring. Recently, you've been stuck with just me talking, so thank you to those that have listened, maybe responded to it, and have come back another week, because I promised you it wouldn't just be me. We would have other interesting voices, and so today we do have that. And so we're going to hear from our guests. We're going to talk about youth mentoring here in Savannah and how that is playing into the life of our guests. So I have him introduce himself in a second. Also, just a reminder that our episodes from January until now are on a website, a couple different websites. One of them, you can hear old episodes on savyouthmentoring.org. That's a website that was built by Girls Code Savannah. That's where we have 17 different youth mentoring groups, programs here around Chatham County. They're all featured on there. It's a great resource for parents, savyouthmentoring.org. If you want to find a program for your child, or if you're a potential volunteer and you're wanting to get involved in youth mentoring and you're not sure where to go, who's doing it, who needs people, savyouthmentoring.org. Again, glad you're here on a Friday morning with us. The weekend is approaching. Exciting times, hopefully, for people looking to do something interesting out there. Go to the beach, take part in whatever events are happening, which if you're curious about what events are happening for youth, that's another place you can go to, savyouthmentoring.org, because there's a community calendar there with different youth events. But let's get to the other part of why we're here, and that's to talk to local people who are doing mentoring and to hear stories from them and to see what they're up to now. And so I have Mr. Jimmie Johnson across from me here in our little studio space here at the front porch where my day job is. And so, Jimmie, welcome in. Tell us about yourself. There's a lot to explain. I mean, if those who are watching this, they'd see your shirt. There's something to explain there. There's your name to explain. There's also how your name inadvertently ties into some fandom that you have. And so there's a lot to talk about. So I don't know if you can just start introducing yourself. Who are you? Where are you from?
But thank you for having me on this great podcast. Very much needed to bring awareness to mentoring opportunities in the city of Savannah for those who want to roll their sleeves up and get into the work. But I am Jimmie Johnson. I am the new senior director of the City of Savannah Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement, where we focus our efforts on the youth population from 12 to 25 who are at the highest risk of being involved in violence, specifically gun violence, and trying to redirect their behavior and make them more productive citizens of Savannah. And that contributes to a decrease in violent crime overall.
Talk about a mission.
A mission.
I mean, that's a big, important one that would scare off most people.
Right.
Just when you talk about youth, that already scares off people. Oh, I don't want to work with teenagers or kids. Though you talk about gun violence and you combine those together.
Yes.
That's a big field.
It is. But what led me to Savannah is the aura around doing the work to save our youth. A lot of entities, and we've spoken about this before, the willingness to break out of the silos and work together to really reach that overarching mission of pouring back into our youth and saving them and giving them a more productive outlook on life. And mentoring is a big piece of that, and a big piece in our office. Yeah. We've recently started identifying those individuals in the community from the city of Savannah who have lived experiences that these kids are facing today, and who have overcome those barriers and now are productive citizens themselves. Now they can reach back and help these youth understand that these barriers do exist, but this is the way to get over these barriers. And these are the opportunities that are out here to assist you in overcoming those barriers. And for those who are interested in being those mentors to these highest risk, just send us an email at ONSE, that's ONSE, at savannahga.gov. And we have plenty of opportunities for those who want to pour back into these youth lives as well.
You know, we've had different people come on and talk about their different programs. All of them are important because all of them fit a certain group at a certain time as far as the target group, you know, the youth. And they all fit the adults' comfort level or experience level or schedule, you know, so it's all very strategic. So we have some groups that need after school tutoring. That's part of what we try to get volunteers for at the front porch, after school tutoring. That's important because kids get behind in school, then they're just constantly underwater, and then the long-term outcomes tend to get pretty bleak and dim. That could be really intimidating to someone, sitting down with a kid and helping them with reading skills. Well, I don't really know how to do that, or I'm not very good at that, or I wasn't a great student. So that can be intimidating to some, where working with a kid in your program may not be as intimidating because they're like, oh, I understand that. I saw that growing up, or I've experienced it. So it's interesting. We need all kinds of mentors for all kinds of programs. So we'll get more into the ONSE program, or I guess some people call it ONSE, the ONSE, Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement. Before we get there, you have an accent that's a little different than the Savannah accent. You know, the more you live in the South, the more you can tell, like, ooh, that's not from here. That's from, so you have this very smooth kind of, it makes me feel relaxed just hearing you talk. And so, and I already knew you moved here to Savannah. So where are you from? And I guess part of why you moved was obviously this job. What was that transition like? Even as an adult, those transitions can be tricky when you uproot, especially if you've been somewhere for a long time. So where'd you come from? What's the transition been like?
So yes, I am from Memphis, Tennessee.
There we go.
I am born and raised in Memphis. Grew up, I was born in, we refer to it now as affordable housing, but the projects, I'm a project kid. Teenage parents. My mom was 16, my dad was 15 when I was born. But
it's an early start, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And they were counted out amongst a lot of people. But my dad now is the number 2 over Highway Patrol in Tennessee. My mom is a top level operation manager at Nike. So they beat the odds, and they were my motivators for me being able to overcome a lot of barriers as well, looking at what they overcame to see where they are now. But the transition to Savannah was I'm a spiritual person, and it was really, really like a chosen city for me. It hadn't been too difficult. And I'm a believer when you're walking in your purpose, everything is going to be at ease. There were little bumps, but nothing overwhelming.
Because that Memphis, you had been there lifelong.
My whole life.
Okay, so that's
40 years. 40.
Were you just ready for a transition already, or did this come out of left field? And
so, a little bit personal story. It's just me and my daughter. I have a teenage daughter. Her mom passed 5 years ago. And it was put on my heart just in the middle of the night, like, you've been doing great work here. And I was a police officer for 15 years with the city. And 3 years I led their gang group violence intervention program. And we did great work. But I woke up with just the spirit in my heart that it was more for me to do in another place. And as most adults do, you get on Indeed, you scroll Indeed, and this opportunity was right there. And I applied. I met with.
Okay, so you just saw it from
Indeed.
Yeah, just looking on there. Okay.
I met with chiefs here, and I love the aura, the intentional vested interest in really pouring back in our youth was different than what I've seen in other cities. Doing peer exchanges in my previous job, the work here was just different. And I said, I want to be a part of this movement here. I've been here since January. Nothing that was presented to me has changed. The intention, the vested interest that they have here is different. I like the collaborative efforts amongst city, government, as well as the community-based organizations here. Everybody wants to work together. What can I do? And I love that spirit, because one thing I do when I wake up in the morning, I always say this: we, the willing, are doing the impossible for the ungrateful. And what that means is we are a small portion of society that is willing to get in and do this type of work. Mentoring, it is a daunting task. Pouring back into our youth is a daunting task, but we are willing to do the work for a population that doesn't see the benefit right now. But like you said, reflecting on me coming up, I had great people that poured into me. And I was like, why is he telling me this? Why is he wanting to call me and check on me all the time? Like, I'm tired of this guy just checking on me, right?
Okay.
But I look back now and I appreciate that, because some of those things that these adults were pouring into me made me the man I am today. So I look at a city like Savannah where you have people with true vested interest in making a difference and really moving that needle to improve society overall. And I love it here. Like, I think I've told you, I am a Savannian now.
And when we talked about a month ago, you mentioned how positive the transition had been, and those community collaborations were collaborations, and that was kind of a breath of fresh air. I think I had noticed that too. I moved here from Chattanooga, Tennessee. I've been here for almost 3 years now. And one thing I noticed when I got here to the front porch, there was an emphasis on partners, because in a lot of ways, we're a connecting source, and then we refer out. So we meet with the families, figure out what needs to happen, or we suggest a plan of what needs to happen, and then we're connecting them to partners. So we've got to have a good relationship with our partners, because they're not making money off us. We're not making money off them. We're just trying to help families, really. And it seemed to be pretty collaborative between the court and the school system and police, some major stakeholders. So I was really encouraged when I heard you say something similar, and we weren't even talking about the same topic, but you kind of mentioned that. So that is super encouraging to hear, especially when you're working in a very difficult field. What even got you into this field? Because you said before, police officer for 15 years. Go out every day with a target on your back, not just literally physically, but emotionally, mentally. Sure, there's some people who say thank you, but most often you're only getting the negative. And then to go into working with gang violence in particular and trying to curb that, that's another target on your back. So like, are you just love conflict in your life, or no? What got you into those fields to begin with?
So I've been a servant of the public, and I don't like to say public servant, but I've been a servant of the public since the age of 18. I started as a police service technician in law enforcement, doing traffic accidents and things like that, and then being a full-fledged police officer. So I've always had a heart for helping citizens of my city when I was in Memphis, because that's all I knew. But doing the work in law enforcement, it helped me open my eyes that this is not just a city of Memphis problem, right? And when I say problem, I'm saying the issues that citizens are facing, whether it's poverty, which drives crime, whether it's low literacy rate, which drives crime, whether it's the pressures of growing up in an environment that's not conducive for success, which drives crime. So it's a lot of underlying issues that we necessarily don't pay attention to in law enforcement. We look at the act. So whether, a shooting happened, you committed a crime, you robbed someone. So we're looking at that. But what caused that individual to pick up their gun? what caused that individual to go steal.
Now, was that a shift for you mentally so many years into your profession as being a law enforcement?
So, and that shift comes from, and you'll hear law enforcement officers say all the time, we locking the same people up. We're arresting the same people over and over again.
The frequent flyers.
Right.
The main.
But what is causing it? You hear educators say, this kid comes in my classroom and acts out every day. What's causing that? So that got in my mind is, what is the underlying issues? So looking at what was causing this, poverty, low literacy rate, like I said, environments at home that's not conducive for success. So how do we correct that? And if we correct those issues, eliminate those barriers, or help these youth navigate through those barriers, maybe we won't have to deal with the act of crime, right? So that motivated me to really start doing work that addressed the underlying issues, mentoring, finding out what resources are effective in helping them overcome those barriers, whether it's mental health counseling, whether it's substance abuse counseling, not only for them, but for their parents. Because when they're at school 8 hours a day, right? But they go home, 16 hours are spent in the home. So we have to see what is the home an environment that's conducive for success. And if it's not, then what are some things that we could do as service providers to make that environment more conducive for their success? Whether it's helping mom or dad get a job, whether it's educate mom, getting them an education, a higher education.
Goes into a lot of social work.
Right. So that's a key piece to law enforcement, because as a police officer, we were social workers too. We were helping people solve problems, helping them get through crisis.
Whether you knew it or not. Or knew what to do or not, you were being a social worker.
But now in this role, I like to refer to it, I'm playing with house money now. Because now I have the knowledge and the accessibility to all these resources that the individuals that I'm trying to help don't have. A lot of people don't know what resources are out here to help them, right, overcome these challenges. But now I'm in a wheelhouse where I know now.
Yeah.
And it's at my fingertips. So now it's about, like you said, at the front porch, getting these individuals who need the help to the effective help, to help them overcome that barrier or those barriers to make them be successful.
And I think some people, and I would include myself in some people, are baffled a little bit as how do people not know about the resources? How do people not know about the programs? Because there's tons of them all over the place. And how do they not know with social media, right in your phone, right in your pocket? You've got all the information. You've got the news outlet. You've got the way to get information. You can call. There's websites. You can drive. There's all these different ways to access it. How do people not know? They should know better. They should know how to get to them. And so you get that negative side. People say, "Oh, we're just handing things out to people. We're not equipping them to how to do it themselves. We're not teaching a man how to fish. We're just giving them the fish." There's kind of this back and forth, which gives social services sometimes a bad name, where it's like, well, we don't need all those extra supports and helps, so we can cut them because they're not needed. We need stuff to go into this, into these other realms. And we've learned more and more, for whatever reason, people don't know how to get it or don't know how to access it. Or yes, they have access to information, but the information that they seek out or that they're inundated with isn't the one that they need. And so their attention's focused somewhere else. So getting that word out is difficult, even though it seems like it should be the easiest thing because we have so many ways to communicate. What have you found has been the best way to communicate, hey, here's the help that you guys need? Whether that was in Memphis or since moving to Savannah, because there's so many ways to get information out.
Right. So for so long, I was a person, and I think like most people that's in this work, we assume the help for those individuals, right? And I give you an example. If I go to someone's house and I just found out that I arrested their son or daughter for stealing food. and I bring them back. And as soon as I go in the house, the light's off, right? And I assume, okay, you need utility assistance help. Something is going on. You living impoverished, right? And we say, okay, well, we'll give you money to help you pay your light bill. We'll fill your refrigerator with groceries. That's the help you need.
Yeah, that's fulfilling a need right then and there.
But then you find out that mom and dad have great jobs, great paying jobs, right? But why you don't have your lights on and your groceries?
Mm-hmm.
Because they have a drug problem, right? So how do we get there to know that? So I started asking, what does help look like for you? Every individual that we come across, that I've come across, now I ask, what does help look like for you? What does success look like for you? Because what I think help looks like for you might not be necessarily what you feel like you need help with, right? Yeah, I need you to get your high school diploma. I think that's what you need. But if you can't read or write, then your need is basic literacy skills. Teach me how to read and write. Then, yes, I go and get my high school diploma or GED, right? So I think we should, from my standpoint, I've had better success developing plans for individuals by asking them, what are their needs? What are their wants? What does success look like for you?
Yeah.
To get a very strategic and detailed plan to get them to their success. So I think, again, what does success look like for you?
Yeah.
What does help look like for you?
Instead of saying, I got just the program for you. I got just the thing for you. I'm observing, because you're trying to be observant and look, the lights are off. This is happening. That's happening. Okay, here's what they need. And I want to get that help to you. That's well-meaning. But yeah, like you said, if you don't have their input into the process, it's probably going to delay things a lot more. All right, let's talk. You've talked about good decision-making and a wise approach to working with people. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some poor decision-making that you're making, because I know who your NFL team is. We got to break that down. So we'll be right back here on the Savannah Youth Mentoring Hub radio show after a few words from WRUU. Okay, we're back in again. Thank you for joining us Friday mornings, every Friday morning, 107.5 FM on your dial. Or maybe you're streaming us, WRUU.org. You can hear all the shows that come up on this radio, on this volunteer radio platform, by the way. No one gets paid to do shows. So whether that's you're listening to some of the various music programs, there's Democracy Now! That plays in the mornings that we're playing right before this show that you're listening to right now, or it's a variety of the other programs, interview programs, community spotlights that happen 24 hours a day on WRUU. It's all volunteers who are sharing something that's important to them, something they're passionate about. And so here on Fridays from 11 to 12, in particular, we're passionate about youth mentoring. So thank you for being with us. We've been sitting down talking with Jimmie Johnson, a new Savannah resident from Memphis, Tennessee, where I've got friends, close friends of mine, the Boffmans. They love Memphis. They rep Memphis at all times. And there's a little bit of like, if you're from Memphis or you've been there long enough, people really, it's almost like Memphis is their mom. And if you talk bad about Memphis, be ready. It's like that way, for a lot of people in a lot of their hometowns, but Memphis seems to have something a little different. So maybe you know exactly what I'm talking about with that. But right before we went to break, I just teased that we wanted to get into some bad decisions that you make. We like to have, balance, pros and cons. And one of the cons that I can see, before we talk about your love for Memphis, you're a fan of a really, I don't want to say too much. You're a fan of an NFL franchise that's highly controversial. So maybe just talk. Who's your team, Jimmie?
How about them Cowboys?
Oh, man.
The Dallas Cowboys, 5-time Super Bowl champs. 5-time Super Bowl champs.
5 times.
And we don't even talk about how many NFC championships we got. But 5-time Super Bowl champs.
You don't want to talk about what you've had in the last 25 years either.
But we got 5 Lombardis sitting in the trophy.
Okay.
They might be a little dusty.
The past was really good. The past. You grew up in Memphis. I'm not saying Dallas is a whole other world away, but it's. And I know in Tennessee there were no teams when you were like real young, but then the Titans came in. So why Cowboys?
So it's only two teams that really came on TV all of the time when I was growing up. That was either Pittsburgh Steelers, or the Dallas Cowboys. I hate being cold, so I'm never going to Pittsburgh. But
wait. As a kid, when you were first becoming aware of the NFL, you're like, Pittsburgh's a cold place, so I'm never going to visit there. So
Pittsburgh. Every game that came on in the late season,
like in the snow,
they were playing in the snow.
So that just turns you
off.
You
saw the fall coming out of their mouths. It was like, oh. And the Cowboys was the pretty boy team. The uniforms are always clean. They play indoors. Like, it was, yeah.
That's pretty okay. Wait, who were some of the players that you were just enamored with when you were little? Like, in your earliest fandom, who were those people?
Of course. You had the triplets. Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith.
I hated them all. Yeah.
But then you had that, the line, you had Leon Lett. You had, when they started making trades.
If you don't know Leon Lett, just Google Leon Lett and see what comes up.
Oh, wait a minute.
It probably won't be his highlights.
It will not be his highlights.
He was a likable guy, but he had some
but blunders. Then you had, when they made the trades, you had your Deion era with Deion Sanders, your Charles Haley. You had the Doomsday Defense. Like, you had good.
A lot of hype.
And we get back there now, now we fast forward. We done had some highlight players, but.
So here's the thing. Troy Aikman, objectively speaking, I mean, they won championships with him, so obviously he did his job well, and a lot of other things were factored in. When you just look at his numbers, he was pretty average. I mean, it wasn't that amazing. At the time, he felt like a superstar because he's always beating your team. I'm a Falcons fan. So anytime we played them, you know you're going to lose. They're on TV all the time. They're making it to the Super Bowl. Kind of got nauseating. Like, oh, golly, the freaking Dallas Cowboys again. But I remember looking back, this is a handful of years ago, and being like, Troy Aikman actually wasn't that great. Like, objectively speaking, Tony Romo
was better.
A better quarterback.
Statistically,
yeah. Dak Prescott, a better quarterback as far as overall skill, stats. Part of that's because the league has changed. It's become a little bit of a safer league, also much safer for quarterbacks. They got more time to throw, perhaps. There's less danger. It's still very dangerous. I mean, it's a horribly dangerous sport, but like, man, Troy wasn't even that good. He looked like a quarterback. He said,
he had good pieces around him. We had an offensive line like they had in the 90s.
There was every time
we could have had 1,000 yards rushing the year.
I could have played one game at least. Get signed for one game.
Running behind that line.
As soon as I get hit once, I would just slide into everything. Because Emmett would always have 5 yards, 5 yards, 5 yards, 5 yards every time.
Easy.
That was so frustrating. He wouldn't break, he wasn't Barry Sanders. He wasn't as dynamic or shifty or breaking ankles. He would just hit the hole, always 5 yards.
And what team now? So back then, their bread and butter play was a counter draw. That was their bread and butter.
The most boring. No, it worked. How did it work? Yeah.
That was their bread and butter. You do not hear a team today say their bread and butter is a run, except for the Philadelphia Eagles, the touch push.
Yeah. What a weird. That no one else can master.
That no one else.
Only one team can master.
Right. But yeah, that shows you how dominant their line was. Like, yeah.
How old were you think, when you first started to discover
that the Cowboys was my team?
Yeah, when you're like, oh, I'm a fan. Because it's weird how fandom works.
9 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, 9. That was 94.
Watching it with Dad or
Dad, my grandparents.
Well, 94, so that was a Super Bowl year, right?
Yep. My grandparents. We're huge football fans.
Okay, so the whole family was kind of leaning that way.
Well, my dad was definitely Cowboys. My grandmother, she just loved the sport. And now she became a Peyton Manning fan. She loves Peyton Manning.
Okay.
So wherever Peyton Manning went, that was her team. And now she's a Denver Broncos fan.
Oh, because she went with Peyton to Denver and then she just stayed?
She just stayed.
Okay.
So, but you ask her, she'll call me every morning during football season. Monday mornings. You see my team? We won. Great. Who is your quarterback? Some young kid, but he can really throw.
That's not important. What's important is the team won.
Right.
The team got it. It's funny how that works, especially when you're little. If you're into sports, some people, they get it later on, but a lot of people, if you're a fan, it happens sometime in your youth. There's something that turns you on to that team or exposes you to it. And then the people who, that's my team, no matter what. That's my team. It's just an interesting phenomenon, like that loyalty. Even when your team's even when my team's objectively bad, I'm like, we got a good chance this year.
Right.
I think we're going, okay, true, we're 3-7, but if we win the next 7 games, and I've looked out on the schedule, I'll go through all the things in my mind, like, no, because we can do that. They come back from injury. We'll get this. It's still math. Yeah. Holding on to every moment. But I'll look at another person who's like a Browns fan. I'm like, how can you be a Browns fan all your life? Oh, they're terrible. There's this controversy, blah, 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 blah. I'm a Falcons fan my whole life, and we more losing than winning. Got close a couple times and lost in the big one. So it's mostly just losing. But there's nothing someone could do to make me change teams, really.
Right.
I mean, it's almost like someone could offer me a crazy amount of money. Even if I accepted it in my heart, I would never be able to go to another team. I think I would turn down a lot of money just to like turn my back on my teams, which is just weird, like how people get there.
Yeah.
I love all the Atlanta teams. You know, the Falcons are my team, the Braves, the Hawks.
I love the Braves.
Okay, you're a Braves fan.
I grew up a Braves fan.
All right, because you probably got that on TBS or...
Well, my dad was in the military, and he was stationed in Marietta, right? He stayed right outside of Marietta. So he was a big Braves fan, and we had to watch the Braves. So
he became a Braves fan.
And it's kind of crazy because the AAA team to the Cardinals, the Memphis Redbirds.
What about basketball?
Memphis Grizzlies.
Okay, so you're a Grizzlies fan. Okay.
Now, but I grew up, of course, Chicago Bulls fan because everybody wanted to be like Mike.
Yeah.
Everybody
and that's who you saw on NBA on NBC.
Until we got the Grizzlies. And I still follow the Bulls. Like, I like what the Bulls are doing, but I'm a Grizzlies fan.
And for the most part, overall, since the Grizzlies, since maybe mid-2000s, I mean, they've had some solid teams and then have really good teams. They've had a pretty consistent run. Mm-hmm. There's been, a couple years ago, all the injuries, and that was a tough year, but they've looked really good at times.
Yeah. And I think so one thing about, like you said, your friends in Memphis, we embody the grit and grind mentality.
Right.
And the Memphis Grizzlies embodies the grit and grind mentality. Like, they are a gritty...
It seems intentional that they built the team that way, which is an interesting way where most other teams were going for lots of 3-point shooting and a lot of flash and high scoring. The Grizzlies were kind of like going the opposite way for a lot of years. It's going to be in the post. It's going to be, that grit and grind because it matches the feel of the city. Why does that match the city?
Because it's like Memphis has always been, in my eyes, a city where if you make it out the city and be successful, because there's a lot of barriers, from somebody, especially from the inner city. Like I spoke on, like my mom and my dad, teenage parents from the projects, and now they have made it. And that mentality...
Highly unlikely. Statistically speaking, that should not be the narrative. Just being a teenage parent already puts you way behind.
Right. And then with me being raised by my mom, majority because my dad was in the military, I wasn't supposed to make it. Like, I'm the offspring of 2 teenage parents. Like, the narrative was supposed to be totally different.
Yeah.
And I have been a productive citizen in society. You know, again, losing my wife 5 years ago at the age of 35, and now I'm having to raise my daughter, my biological daughter, and I have a stepdaughter. They were supposed to be suicidal. They supposed to be failing in school. My stepdaughter is an entrepreneur, own tax business, online clothing store. My youngest, she just turned 15. She's a 3-sport athlete, 4.0 student. Like that, and you would hear people from Memphis say, if we can make it out of our circumstances in Memphis, we can make it anywhere. That's that grit and grind mentality. No matter how dark and dim the circumstances look, we just feel like we're going to make it.
Yeah.
Like, we going to make it. And I think that's how the Grizzlies built. Like, even with this season, you said, all of the injuries, people were still going to the FedEx Forum faithfully as fans. Like, oh, we still in it. Like you said, if we win this amount of games and the Lakers tank these games,
we got them.
We got them.
Yeah, we got it.
We just need a chance to get in the playoffs. Like, we'll be good.
So there's a high level of optimism, not only in the fan base, but that's kind of built into a Memphis mindset. Obviously, people face struggles and they don't feel positive all the time. But overall, there's this kind of overcoming.
Right. Like, it's a mentality of, we know what we're dealing with, but this too shall pass, and we're going to be great. Like, we can make it out of this. Yeah. And I take that in this line of work now, talking to youth and people that when people say, oh, man, you can't save that kid's gone, Oh, he can be saved or she can be saved. It's about the willingness for someone to have to go make that change in their person's life.
Mm-hmm.
I have a kid right now that most people would have given up on. And I message him on Instagram at least once or twice a week just to check up on him, making sure he's working. And this kid's story, I met him at an alternative school. He was on probation. He lost his mom. He was being raised by his grandmom. In and from his grandmother's house to his girlfriend's house. And he was like, I just lost cause, right? And I said, well, he's still breathing. He's still living. It's a chance, right? It's a chance. So I immediately attached to him. I had been in Savannah maybe a month when I first met this kid. And he's still not perfect. But now he's working at a nice restaurant downtown on the river. He has goals to get his GED. And he wants to start his own family. And he said that he doesn't want his family or his kids to go through the same things that he went through. That's the change.
Yeah.
And that's the importance of having a mentor. Being able to pour into someone that society has written off. Right? Like, society has written this kid off, and one person has built hope and optimism in this kid. So now when he's ready to make a decision or has to make a decision, hopefully he would think back on conversations we had, text messages we have shared, and he'll say, hey, I don't need to do that because I want to get here.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
What was it like for you growing up in Memphis in terms of getting the mentoring that you needed or wanted, or you didn't get it and you wish you had it? But what was it like for you being a young person and a youth, a teen?
So I've always had good people around me, from family members, my dad, my mom, my grandparents. But we all reach a pivotal point in life where we think that we are grown adults. And my pivotal moment came when my mom, she got married to my stepdad, and then they went through a divorce when I was 15 years old. And my mom, again, now I'm being raised in a single parent household, right? So my mom is raising me, my sister, and my little brother. And I'm the oldest at 15. My mom's working 2 jobs. And at nighttime, I'm at home with my little brother and sister. And I have...
And how old were they at the time?
My little brother was probably 4, and my sister 6 or 7.
Okay.
And I'm 15. And now I've become the man of the house, essentially.
Now, just for a second, sorry to interrupt you. Those of us who haven't been a single parent, I think when we hear someone's a single parent, you're like, oh, okay, a parent, single parent. Okay. I mean, you kind of hear it and like, oh, that must be difficult. You just kind of pass by, or you hear it and it's like terrifying to think, whoa, single parent, the other person's maybe not as connected or definitely not connected on a regular basis. And how many kids? 2 little kids and a teenager. Just that dynamic right there. That's extra tough.
Right.
That's tough for 2 parents.
Right.
But single parent, that range.
Right. And like you said, I've heard the term single parent used a lot, right? And from my experience, I think when I hear from someone who's never either been raised by a single parent or was a single parent themselves, like you said, it's like, oh, single parent. But when I hear it, I understand now being a child raised by a single parent. Now I am a single dad.
Yeah.
Right. So it's more than just saying just the definition of a parent that's raising a child by themselves. Now that's a parent, an adult that has to assume the financial responsibility alone of not only making sure that child has their needs met, but meeting their own needs. That's one parent that has to also devote the time that could be split between 2 parents.
Yeah. Now, mom's at work and suddenly the kids got to get picked up because they're sick or they got in a fight or something. So now I got to leave work to go get them to pick them up. That's just one little thing. Right. That's actually a huge thing when you're doing it all by yourself. Where do I bring them? Or now it rained. Or no, in Savannah, it rains too much. Maybe school gets canceled. Or there's a chance of snow. School's canceled. I have a job. Do I bring them to work with me? Or do I just leave them at home all day? And now I got to... There's just so many logistical things that come up.
Right. And so at that point, I saw my mom struggle like I've never seen her struggle before. Now, mind you, she had me when she was 16, but my grandparents were there, my uncle, my auntie was there.
And you weren't as aware that
I wasn't aware, right?
Yeah.
But now I see my mom having to make the decisions of, like you said, I have to work 2 jobs. Even though I know I have to leave my kids at home, I have to supply their needs, right? Yeah. So now I'm seeing my mom struggle. So I'm like, I don't like to see my mom struggle. So I need to go in the streets, right? Like this is an option now. And now that's why now I understand.
You're thinking about, I need to help bring some money
into the house.
Yeah.
Right?
At 15.
At 15, right? And like you said, I don't know how to fill out a job application. I don't know how to go and at that time, we didn't have internet at our fingertips, right? We had dial-up. If we could afford to have internet in our home.
Sure, that wasn't the norm. Yeah.
So again, like you going back to what you're saying, sometimes we don't have the knowledge or someone bringing the knowledge or resources to us to say, hey, yeah, you 15, you can go work at McDonald's. This is how you fill out the application. Didn't have that.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know.
Right. So, but I do have these older individuals out on the street saying, hey, this is how you make money on the street. Let me show you how to hustle. Let me show you how to shoot dice. Let me show you how to run errands for this guy that you don't know what you're running, but let me show you, right? And you're going to get this money, right?
It's a job.
It's a job, right? So the importance of having mentors in my life, it saved my life. One of my most influential mentors were two police officers. One of them is very famous now, but two police officers, Lieutenant Calvin Brown and former director of Memphis Police Department, Tony Armstrong. And Tony Armstrong, most people know him from the First 48. He was one of the detectives on the First 48 show in Memphis.
Okay.
But Lieutenant Calvin Brown was a church member. And
how old were you when you met him?
Well, I knew Lieutenant Brown probably since I was 9 or 10. He was a member of the church.
So your first interactions weren't necessarily, oh, there's a police officer.
No. And when my mom became a single parent and she started seeing my behavior change, like I was a straight A student going to an all optional school. And now that this divorce had happened, again, no counseling was done because there wasn't a thing then. You know, like if it happens now, people coming up, oh, he needs mental health counseling. Mm-hmm. But there wasn't a thing. Like those resources, if they did exist, they weren't at your doorstep.
Like and people may not have even thought it was
thought it was needed, right?
Like they didn't go through nothing big. It's just
it's just a divorce. They'll bounce back, you know.
Yeah.
But when my behavior changed, when my grades started dropping, when I started being delinquent and disobedient.
Do you remember going through that and it being like a shift in your mindset or things just started happening you didn't even really realize?
So I started seeing me acting out, like out of frustration. I wasn't getting the attention that I was once getting because, again, mom working 2 jobs. When she's at home, she's tired. She gonna cook dinner. She gonna go to sleep. And rightfully so, she's tired, right? She is exhausted.
Yeah.
And at that time as a child, you don't realize, but now as an adult, I see, because I've worked 2 jobs, you know, and it's like, oh, this is, and worrying about how I'm going to feed my kid, how I'm going to keep the lights on, you know, that is a lot on one person. So rightfully so, she's exhausted. So now I'm like, okay, you ain't going to give me attention. I'm going to go out here in the streets and get attention. I'm going to start hanging with these friends that I shouldn't hang with, but it's cool. It's fun. You know, I'm getting the attention that I want. But luckily, Lieutenant Brown, he was running the basketball team at the church. And he basically took me under his wing. And that's how I met Director Armstrong as well. And now I had this positive.
Was that intimidating to have 2 police officers?
It was. It was very much so intimidating. But I never feared law enforcement like that. Like it wasn't a time where I felt like the police were gonna hurt me, harm me, anything like that. So, and when you getting genuine love and care from individials, you can take the discipline, right?
Okay.
Like I can take the, hey Jimmie, sit down. You're not doing it. You treat your mama bad. Like I can take that scolding from somebody that I know in a different conversation. They're like, hey, you hungry? Let me take you to get something to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you need a new shirt for church? Oh, let me buy you this new shirt. You're right. So it's like, okay, yeah, you're on my case, but you're doing it out of love, right?
And you can see it, you can feel it, you know it's genuine.
I can feel it. And again, the kid that I was telling you about that I've been connected to, I can get on him like, hey, you don't need to be hanging out. You don't need to be on your social media posting guns. And it's like, you're right. I don't need to do that. Because it's the same kid if he says, hey, I'm hungry, Mr. Johnson. Can you cash out me what you need to eat? Because I'd rather send you the money to go get you a cheeseburger and french fries than make you feel the pressures of having to go take it or go rob somebody so you can eat, right?
Yeah.
But going back to my experience, those two individuals, to this day, I owe them a lot for me being where I am today.
Do they know that?
Yes. So, like, if I see them, I can show you a missed phone call last week. And it was funny because I'm like, why is he calling? And it was Director Armstrong calling. And right there.
It says Director Armstrong, too.
You know, but those figures, I hold them just as esteemed as I do my father, because they were that pivotal in my life, in changing my outlook on life. And did I straighten up during that time right then? No, I didn't.
Yeah. It was a process. It was a journey.
It was a journey.
Yeah.
But when I turned 18, my mom said, she made me go live with my dad for 3 years.
She made you.
She made me.
Like, she was like, hey,
you gotta go.
I need you to try something different.
You gotta try something different.
Were you, oh, great, I can't wait to do it? Or do you remember being resistant?
No, I was very resistant.
But you're like, I live with Mom.
Resistant. Once I got there, me and my dad was into it all of the time, because I didn't want structure. Like, I'm 15. I've been looking after my little brother and sister while my mom gone. I did start working.
I've been making decisions for myself and others.
Decisions for myself and others. Like, no, I don't want structure. And after I graduated, I was like, okay, I started doing very well. Back in school, making good grades. I wanted to go to college now. So I get to a point where I'm in college and I'm like, I want to go to college to be a gynecologist. So I wanted to be a doctor.
Okay.
And I was like, it just didn't feel right. Like, it just didn't feel right. So I started thinking, went through some more life experiences, and those same two gentlemen was like, thought about being the police? Like, fill out the application.
How old are you at the time?
I'm 19.
Okay.
So I fill out the application to be a police service technician. Doing accidents, it's like an entry-level position to law enforcement. So I did that, and my first supervisor at the time, guess who it was? Lieutenant Brown.
Okay.
Was my supervisor, right? And he was like, you're going to like it, you're going to be good. And I was working day shift, and he was over the night shift. And he was like, you don't like it, just keep doing it. And I was like, man, all the people I used to hang with now being the police. But life is like full circle moments. They give you full circle moments. So I left Memphis Police Department and went to a suburb police department, one of the police departments in the suburbs. So it'll be similar to like Pooler Police versus Savannah.
Yeah.
At that time, Tony Armstrong was a lieutenant. While my time was, as I was being a police officer in the suburbs, he got promoted all the way up to director. Full circle moment. We had a conversation. He said, Jimmy, you need to come back to your city. You don't even live in Bartlett. Now it's like, you're right. Like, I'm policing in the city I don't even live in. Like, so I came back, and now he's the director of the police department. And he gave me my police badge from this kid that was 14, 15 years old. You saved that 14, 15-year-old kid's life. And now you're pinning him on your police department. And I'm that kid that life was in shambles. And now my mentor is pinning my badge.
Do you remember what you were thinking in that moment? Or do you remember much from that?
I was crying in the inside.
Okay.
I'm just going
to wonder if that's so very emotional.
It was very emotional for me.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like some individuals in your life that you will run through a brick wall for at any given moment. Outside of my family, him and Lieutenant Brown are top of the list.
Yeah.
They could call me right now, and what you need me to do is done.
Let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen. So those two probably were my top two mentors in my youth stages.
Thank you for sharing those stories about them. That's what we need, stories and examples. I think some of us, the idea of mentoring is not foreign. For some people, it sounds weird or intimidating, or what does that mean? Or what kind of time does it, what do I have to have a background in? How experienced do I have to be in my own life? So it's good to hear examples. And you mentioning these people came into my life, it did make an impact, but part of the impact wasn't felt until time went on. That's a good reminder for us. Not going to see everything right away. It's a long game, oftentimes. It can be. We're down to our last few minutes here. We have the 11 to 12, and we're pushed up against that 12 o'clock. So before we leave, tell me a little more about ONSE Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement. At the very beginning, you kind of mentioned, hey, if anybody wants to be a mentor, reach out to us. So in about 1 minute, how could people get involved with ONSE in a meaningful way? Just what could that look like? And then how do they get more information?
So we invite anyone in the community, City of Savannah residents, if you have a heart or the passion to pour into our highest risk youth, and these youth are mostly just as involved youth. They have been either arrested for gun crimes or they have been victims to gun violence. But if you have the passion or heart to redirect these youth and set them on a path of long-term positive progression, just email us at onse@savannahga.gov with your information, and one of our youth empowerment specialists or senior program coordinators will be in touch with you. If you are an individual that have these lived experiences, were you those youth that were growing up on the wrong side of the tracks and had someone point to you to figure it out, and now you want to do that and return that favor to the citizens of Savannah? Please reach out to us. If you are a citizen that never had to experience these life experiences, you've never been in crime, you've never been shot at, but you have the passion and heart to reach out. Maybe you want to help them read. Maybe you want to help them get their GED. Yeah. Please reach out to our office. It is room for you to get in, roll your sleeves up. There's enough work for everyone. And I promise you, we will put you in a position to be successful with these young people that we work with in our office.
That's ONSE@savannahga.gov. Again, this has been Jimmie Johnson, not that Jimmie Johnson, even though there was the Cowboys tie-in. I'm sure you've had plenty of interesting and annoying conversations about your name and that over the years.
Race car driver, everything.
That's right, the race car. That's right. A lot of Jimmie Johnsons out there, but only one that's in Savannah working with ONSE, ONSE, and you want to get a hold of him, or also get a hold of him about being a mentor, somehow interacting with kids who are in need. Okay, these are kids who need some additional support. ONSE@savannahga.gov. Every time we have an episode, we end with a song. And so we'll ask the person we're interviewing, tell us a song, or not tell us a song, but set up a song, and then we'll listen to it as we close out today. That means something to you, that's impactful to you, that motivates you, inspires you to do your work, whatever it may be. What's the song you're going to leave us with here today?
Michael Jackson.
Okay.
Man in the Mirror.
Classic.
The lyrics, really, if you haven't looked at the lyrics, read the lyrics. If you are in this work or you have a heart for saving our youth, this song will hit home. I promise you.
Okay.
But yes, that is my go-to when I get I'm ready to give up. I play Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror, because sometimes we have to look at that person in the mirror if we really want to make it.
That's got to be the start. Yeah, I believe it.
You have to start with yourself. So.
Yeah. Okay, again, thank you for being with us here. Friday mornings, 11 to 12, every Friday, Savannah Youth Mentoring Hub radio podcast show. Jimmie, thanks for being with us. Again, check out ONSE Office of Neighborhood and Safety and Engagement here in Savannah. MJ's going to take us out today. I like the throwback. Great message. For those of you getting ready for your weekend, whatever you're doing, be kind to each other. Let's get involved with some type of mentoring in some space, in some way. And yeah, treat each other well. MJ, take it out.